to its former glory. He says, quote, since we left office, Tor has never processed crude oil again. I remember before we left office, we sent to Tor the first batch of Ghanaian crude oil from our own oil fields for Tor to process. That oil sat there for several years. Eventually, they discounted the oil and sold it without processing. I can assure you when NDC comes back, Tor will stand on its feet again, end quote. So that's it on the political side. The NDC, let's not forget, they are trying to find a flag bearer. So several names or hopefuls are going around, and they are hoping that they can get to lead the NDC into the next election in 2024.
Okay. So what do we do? Let's turn our attention to so many.
Yes, let's go to Ashanti region.
The Ashanti region.
This is also on citynewsroom.com.
Okay.
And the police have arrested a police officer, Inspector Ahmed Chumesi, who is alleged to have shot and killed a female adult who was believed to be his girlfriend. The shooting incident occurred in Kumasi on Thursday, April 20. The suspect, who has been on the run since the incident, was arrested at Seche, near Ifijase in the Ashanti region, as a result of a special police operation which was launched following the shooting incident. The suspect is currently in police custody and will be put before the court to face justice. This is a very, very, very tragic story.
Heartbreaking story. But let me just urge that the legal or the criminal process, or what you call it, criminal justice system, should work efficiently and effectively and with dispatch to bring this matter to a resolution, because we have so many cases of alleged murder where people are on trial, but for some reason these matters are taking forever.
Why? So I'm sure there are several factors.
Yeah, that's right, and it's not good for the administration of justice. So it is important that if a suspect is in custody, the police should do everything possible to process him. And if the evidence supports the alleged case against him, then the court should deal with the matter with dispatch. Similarly, all those other issues that are on ice for some reason, I think it is important. We owe it a duty to the families who are grieving, and then those people who have been held or are being held as suspects to have the matter put to trial quickly, so that we can resolve these issues. Because they say justice delayed is justice ultimately denied. Meanwhile, let me express my condolences to the bereaved family of the lady who apparently was allegedly murdered by the police officer in the Ashanti region. So let's take you to some other stories, if I may. There's a story here on myjoy online.com. I did not operate mining information service, according to Professor Frimpong Boateng. He is responding apparently to Gabi Otri-Dako. And the story says that the former Environment Minister, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, has responded to comments made by MPP stalwart Gabi Asare Otri-Dako concerning the former's accusation that Mr. Otri-Dako had interfered with his anti-Galamsey campaign. Now, in a 36-page document written by Professor Boateng and addressed to the President, the Chief of Staff and the police, Mr. Otri-Dako and other government officials were fingered to have thwarted the then minister's attempt to fight the Galamsey menace. Now, denying the accusation, Mr. Otri-Dako stated that he had not asked the minister to engage in any illegality or condone the same. Now, according to the MPP stalwart, he only called the renowned medical doctor to seek information on his client, a company that had the permits to mine in the country. Now, he added that Professor Boateng deliberately twisted his mediation to cause public disaffection for him. However, in a sharp rebuttal, the surgeon said, quote, Mr. Gabi Otri-Dako, it is laughable that you claim to have called me to seek information on your client. If you needed any information, you could have called the Minerals Commission. You know I did not operate mining information services, unquote. Now, in his recent response, he noted that Mr. Otri-Dako was well aware of the distraction his clients were engaged in, and yet chose to use his privileged position to protect them and their destructive services. I've read all these, what do you call it? Okay, so this one says there's the direct quote here that says, you called me to tell me that your client had a valid mining license and all necessary permits. I told you that Heritage Imperial Company Limited did not possess documents permitting it to undertake active mining. That notwithstanding, through your intervention, the Chinese who were arrested were released by the task force, unquote. That's just one story on myjoyonline.com.
Well, if you go to citinewsroom.com, there's a similar story, which says Gabi has pixelated view of illegal mining landscape in Ghana. That's according to Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Okay.
And it says the former chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Professor Frimpong Boateng, has taken a dig at Gabi Otredako, a leading member of the NPP, following the latter's response to his report on illegal small-scale mining, also known as Galamsey. Professor Frimpong Boateng accused Mr. Otredako of interfering in his Galamsey fight, a claim the NPP stalwart in an exclusive interview with Citi News denied. So you have Professor Frimpong Boateng speaking, and there are quotes here that are very similar to what you read as well. In addition, the professor says, "I'm no longer surprised that Mr. Gabi Otredako has such a pixelated view of the illegal mining landscape in Ghana."
Okay, so what else do we do? Do we go international? Looks like.
We want to go international.
There's a story here, though, about marriage and division of marital property.
All these Hakimi.
Yeah, although there have been suggestions that the Hakimi story
must have been fake. It must have been fake. Whatever it is.
I think we're still basing a lot of media discussions on it. And if you go to myjoyonline.com, there's a story here that says divorce and property distribution. Why pulling a Hakimi might not be the smartest thing to do in Ghana, lawyers explain. And the story says that those hoping to hide their assets from their spouses to avoid sharing them during divorce will not get away with it under Ghanaian law. European footballer and player for French soccer team PSG, Achraf Hakimi, 24, has received some nods on social media for allegedly blindsiding his wife, Hiba Abouk, 36, by transferring his wealth into his mother's name, leaving his wife to walk out of the marriage empty-handed. Oh, these are all allegations because it's been suggested that
the story itself is not true.
Now, however, this tactic may not work as expected in Ghana, according to a legal practitioner and partner at Morrison, Chumesi and Partners, Randolph Chumesi, Ankara. While it is possible to transfer wealth acquired during a marriage, doing so with the aim of enjoying the benefits of it solely is not acceptable. Now, the lawyer speaking on Joy News' The Law explained that Ghanaian law presumes that any property acquired within the course of a marriage is jointly acquired, and thus any action to be taken in connection with the said property must receive the explicit consent of the other spouse. It is a very nuanced position of the law. It is not as simple as people make it seem. Okay,
I'm sure we'll get into it maybe later. But just a quick note from Sudan: countries are evacuating their diplomats and citizens because fighting continues to rage in Khartoum. The US and UK announced that they had flown their diplomats out of the country. France, Germany, Italy, and Spain have also been evacuating diplomats and other nationals. We'll keep an eye on Sudan and see how things play out.
We urge the parties there to smoke the peace pipe. It is their country. They should not allow anybody from outside or within to destroy it. We should look at Libya and other countries
all right. Thank you, Richard. That was officially the newspaper. If there are no newspapers, but yeah, we could take them like that. Anyway, this is still the Citi Breakfast Show. When we come back, the Citi Business News will be on. Talk with stakeholders. Any attempts at double speaking just creates or just create even more doubt at the time that is volatile and uncertain. Okay, so that's coming in from Joe Jackson, who was on the big issue over the weekend. He added that it was standard practice of re-engaging your stakeholders when there were challenges to an agreement, and that it would have been of benefit to the government to get back to all the stakeholders involved in the DDEP, that it had hit a hurdle when it went to engage other parties involved. We start with the citibusinessnews.com and we get to other stories. And PIAC has put out its latest report, and in line with that, COPEC, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, is reacting now. The Chamber's executive secretary is Duncan Amoa, and he has been talking about the decline in oil production. Now, for those who haven't read the report, Ghana's petroleum industry generated a record revenue of $1.43 billion in 2022, according to the PIAC report. And this is the highest revenue generated since the inception of oil production in the country, despite a dip in the number of oil barrels drilled in Ghana's 3 oil fields. Now, Duncan Amoa was speaking to Citi Business News, and he said, quote, "It does not look as though much is happening upstream, and for us, that is a source of worry, especially if you look at how much of a haste the government is in to add additional revenue streams to its current revenue, and yet we are not doing much upstream." So those are COPEC's thoughts on the dip in the country's oil production. And talking about dips and reductions, the Ghana Statistical Service has stated that Ghana's Q4 2022 economic growth slowed down to 3.7%. Now, according to provisional data released by the Ghana Statistical Service, the economic growth in Q4 2022 slowed down to 3.7% compared to 5.6% in the same period of 2021. The non-oil GDP also declined from 6.9% in 2021 to 4.3% in Q4 2022. The government had revised its growth projection down to 3.7% from 5.8% initially forecasted for 2022 due to the challenging macroeconomic environment. So that's that. Now, the report also highlights that the challenging macroeconomic environment is the primary reason for the slowdown in Ghana's economy in Q4 2022. And despite all these challenges, some subsectors within the economy continue to perform well, indicating the resilience of the Ghanaian economy. So that's the lowdown that's coming in from the Statistical Service. And then finally, if you get to some agribusiness, the Asian African Consortium and the University of Cape Coast, they are partnering to deepen research into rice production. Now, the CEO of the Asian African Consortium, Mrs. Adelaide Araba Japon, has indicated the need for collaboration between academia and industry to find solutions to the deficit, which exists in rice production value chain in the country. Now, Adelaide Araba Japon explains that well thought through research will redefine the growth of the industry and spur innovations among the youth who work in the agricultural sector. She made this comment at the signing of an MOU between the AAC, a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of Companies, and the University of Cape Coast in Accra. And according to her code, the MOU is premised on deepening research and development for the rice industry. Today's collaboration has given us hope, and we know that the rice production will not only be the burden of Jospon Group of Companies, end quote. So those are some stories from citybusinessnews.com. And the City Business News segment was brought to us by MTN. They are saying that simply download the my MTN app today to request your MTN eSIM and enjoy the sweet seamless life everywhere you go. Now, to check if your device is compatible or if your device can take an eSIM, simply dial *#06#. Once you receive an EID number, it means your phone or device is compatible. Coming up next is Kickoff. Kickoff is the latest from the world of sport. Benjamin Nketiah is here, decked out in his Liverpool shirt. After they beat Nottingham Forest 3-2 in one of the few Premier League games that were played over the weekend. So that and a lot more coming right up. It's Kickoff on the Citi Breakfast Show.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our...
$7:14. There's still the City Breakfast Show. You can send me your thoughts on 0549 986 996. Coming up next is Kickoff, a wrap of the latest from the world of sport, brought to us by Lecheho. Lecheho is saying that for over a decade, they've been supporting investment goals of their customers with attractive solutions. If you didn't know, now you know. Open a fixed deposit account with them now. Call them on 0577 707 700. Lecheho, let's improve life. Kickoff is also brought to us by Shell. Shell has the Shell V-Power. They've got the Shell Fuel Save Super and the Shell Fuel Save Diesel. Shell Fuel designed to last longer. Now, the Shell Fuel Save is designed with triple action and improves engine efficiency, prevents deposit buildup, and protects your engine from mine corrosion for extra clean, extra protection, and extra savings, giving you extra kilometers out of your drive. So switch to Shell Fuel Save today because extra kilometers go a long way. Shell, go well. All right, Benjamin Nketiah is here. Is ready. It's time for Kickoff.
Benjamin Nketiah here with Kickoff. In the headlines, Kotoko beat Adriana Stars to move into the top 4 in the Ghana Premier League. Manchester United set up final with rivals Manchester City in the FA Cup. And in the NBA playoffs, there were wins for the Knicks, the Timberwolves, and the Boston Celtics. Let's begin with the Ghana Premier League match week 27. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they took on rivals Adriana Stars in what was a cracker. Asante Kotoko coming out 2-1 victors in that game. 3 points in the bag for them. They also moved into the top 4 with that particular result. Let's get some reaction from the managers. Abdoulaye Ghazale is assistant manager of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and Pakwesi Fabian is head coach of Adriana Stars.
Yeah, I would say that the players have reacted very quickly because we started slowly. Technically, we were doing everything right, but unfortunately, individually, Augustine was not able to defend Jemfi well. So we considered an early goal, and the players, they were able to come back quickly, and then we equalized the goal. In fact, they have done whatever thing that we are asking to do at the training grounds, even though we made small mistakes that we have to go back and correct. But what we needed was the 3 maximum points, and we had it.
Defensively, average. I thought we should have won the game because we created a lot of chances, but then we flopped them and then we got punished.
What didn't work right for your side?
I believe the onset of the rain also disturbed our pattern of play, and then that did not help us at all.
You must be worried as a coach if you want to win the league and you are not clinical enough up front.
Yes, I am. I thought we could have killed this game. I mean, we should have won by a lot of goals, but no, we missed them all. And then this association football, when you get the opponent and you don't kill him, he gets you, and then he punishes you for that.
So you had Abdoulaye Ghazale and Pakwesi Fabian. Let's move on to the camp of Accra Hearts of Oak. They lost by 1-0 to Bechem United, and Bechem United picking up all 3 points in that one. Let's hear from physical trainer of Accra Hearts of Oak, Enoch Daite. He spoke on behalf of interim coach David Oklu, who was red-carded for misconduct.
The outcome is not bad. If we have the chance to win, it's good. If we don't win, it's good. Whatever happens, we just take it in our faith. But we go home to, work on our errors, then we attack the next game. That's all. I didn't see the red card. I was watching elsewhere. Football is, win, draw or lose. So we believe in the coach. We believe what he can do. He gave a tactical plan that the players listen to it and they work according to the plan. So when the coach leaves, it doesn't take any effect. So, whatever he done to the club is very good.
Let's get to the camp of Bichim United and hear from their head coach, Kasim Mingo Okanse. He was happy with the performance of his players.
Very fantastic from my boys. They played the way we plan to play. They play according to the system we adopted to come and play this match. So I congratulate them for winning. The strategy we adopted to use for this particular match, and it worked to perfection. We squandered a lot of chances. We were very about 3 or 4 goals in the match. It was obvious goal. The goals were easier to score than to miss. But unfortunately for us, we had one. That's what God had given us. So we take it like that.
Kasim Mingo Okanse is head coach of Bichim United. Let's get to some other results from the game round in Swatraman. They beat Kim Faisal by 1-0. Dreams FC were also up against Samatex. Dreams winning by 2-0. Great Olympics, they continued to struggle, could not get a win at home, drawing 1-1 against Tamale City, and then Bibiani Gold Stars were at the losing end when they played at home. Brecum Chelsea beating Bibiani Gold Stars also by 1-0. Karela FC also did not make home advantage count when they took on struggling Legon Cities. Now, Legon Cities are trying to stay afloat in the Ghana Premier League, picked up valuable 3 points on the road. Accra Lions, they were impressive, scored 4 goals against Mediama. Game ended 4-2. And then Kotoku Royals and Real Tamale United played out a stalemate goalless in that game. Let's get to the English Premier League and the FA Cup. There was a mix of that over the weekend. Let's start off with the FA Cup semi-finals where Manchester United, they beat Brighton and Hove Albion on penalty. 7-6 is how that one ended. Let's hear from Eric Ten Hag speaking after his team's victory.
First, we are physical, strong, and we are mentally strong. So we showed the character and the personality, what is necessary to do that. And I can tell you it's not so easy, but we did it. I think we were determined to win this game. We have proof. We've proven that we could beat them, but then we have to play the perfect game. I think for me still that was the perfect game we played this season, but we have to go again. We know that, but first of all, we have to focus on different occasions, on different games, because we have to be in the top 4 to get into the Champions League for next season. It's not, for me, it's not about that. I want to win every game. It doesn't matter who is the opponent. And this opponent, Brighton, I have to give them, for instance, a lot of credit. It's also a great team,
So you had Man United manager Eric Ten Hag speaking there. Now Manchester City, they also beat Sheffield United by 3-0. Riyad Mahrez with a hat-trick in that particular game. He was delighted with their progression to the finals.
It's very good, but the most important is after 2 or 3 years in a row we came here in the semi-final. We always lost and we didn't really play good, and today we really wanted to make sure that we put a good performance and we go to the final. I think we had a good game and we're happy to go to the final of the FA Cup. Yeah. I think it's a collective performance which was very good, and we took the game really seriously and that's why we are good. Yeah.
Riyad Mahrez plays for Manchester City. Let's get to the Premier League and Arsenal Football Club. They dropped valuable points en route to what is stirring up to be a very crucial title race between themselves and Manchester City. 3-3. They drew with bottom place Southampton. Arsenal's manager is Mikel Arteta. He disagrees with assertions that his players lack confidence.
But I don't see a lack of confidence. You know, when a team is able to do that, normally players start to hide. And I play there, and players start to hide in certain moments. And I didn't see a single player doing that. They were all willing to take risk, to take the initiative. That's why we created the chances we created. That's why we go back 3-1 to 3-3 and should have won the game. So the confidence is that. It's those moments, you need to cut. You cannot, at this level, you cannot give the goals away that we have given. Simple as that.
Mikel Arteta is Arsenal manager. Now, Liverpool Football Club, they also won 3-2 against Nottingham Forest. There was Newcastle United with the result of the round. They pounded Tottenham Hotspur by 6-1. Tottenham Hotspur going through a mini crisis over there. Now, Fulham Football Club, they beat Leeds United by 2-1. Brentford drew 1-1 with Aston Villa. Crystal Palace played out a goalless draw with Everton. Leicester, they picked up a very important 2-1 win over Wolves, and AFC Bournemouth also lost 4-0 to West Ham United. Let's do some boxing. And Devonta Davis, he delivered a stunning body shot to stop Ryan Garcia in the 7th round and ended one of boxing's most eagerly awaited fights in recent history. Now, Davis improved to 29-0 with all but 2 of his victories coming via knockdowns. Now, it was the first defeat for Garcia, who won 19 of his first 23 fights by KO. Now, Davis had also sent Garcia to the mat with a roundhouse left in the 2nd round and spent most of the fight working the body. So Gervonta Tank Davis is the boss according to that catchweight bout. Let's finish off with some action from the NBA playoffs. Now, the New York Knicks, they have taken a 3-1 series lead against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jalen Brunson leading the Knicks with 29 points in that game. RJ Barrett also scoring 26 in that game as well. Donovan Mitchell failing to show up in that encounter. In the series between the Kings and the Warriors have tied that series. The game ended 125-126. Very close game there. So Sacramento will go back home, see what they can do with that one. The Boston Celtics have also taken a 3-1 series lead against the Atlanta Hawks. 121 is how that one ended. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both scoring 31 points in that game. And then it was Anthony Edwards leading the Timberwolves to victory over the Nuggets. It's 3-1, the Nuggets lead in that series, but the Timberwolves not going down without a fight. Edwards scored 34 points in that game, so they are hanging in there. That game was won in overtime. And that's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia, the small sport at citysportsonline.com.
Extra, extra, let me tell you all about it.
My senior brother, but my childhood friend, Bale Godson Oklu of Adafianu in the Ketu South, Municipal Assembly of the Volta region. We grew up together. We attended Adafianu Junior High School, which used to be the JSS together. And got a big brother and a protector. And you're celebrating your birthday today. You're a great, great, great guy. We used to call him Major. Major. He was protecting us those days when other people were trying to intimidate us. Yeah, today he's a big, 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 big man. And he's celebrating his birthday. Major, I appreciate everything that you have done and still continue to do. And may the Lord God continue to bless you with all the favors you can find in the world. And may you reach impossible places. God's favor will continue to find you and your family. And this day I rejoice with you, my brother. Major.
This one says, happy blessed birthday to Cindy Yasika Kusi, CEO of Hamp A Gift. May you enjoy grace in your new year. That's coming from Tina Iwo.
You're the guy that's way, my papa. This season is a very dark one. My own anxiety, my inferiority, what they kill me. Jama, they kill me. And I don't feel okay. My heart is beating.
Chief of Staff Julius Debra. Hey! No, we are all associating ourselves with this birthday dedication. May God and Allah continue to bless, protect, and grant him strength and a healthy, prosperous life. This is coming in from Prince Henry, in Kufuidi, and we are plugging into this, Chief of Staff Julius Debra, solid guy, solid human being. And this one is coming in from Clenham and Kwame. And they say, good morning. Please wish a happy birthday to these virtuous women. Gifty, Maunyo, Honuche, and Golda Loko for all their selfless sacrifices. May the God or the good Lord continue to bless them immensely.
Yeah. You show Baba one time. Da 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 da. You show quick. Oh show Kuduweli. Oh show Adolo. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh she's the boy. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're talking that dude. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I ride in my rhymes on the biggest pad. My people be watching, they think it's mad. I'm laughing and grinning because I just roll up and pick up the money in the biggest bag. In 2020 we'll be rolling hard. That be why the banger be going hard. You think that we slow when you see what we doing? We give you the music, we're going far. We're headed for the top now, never gonna stop now, never gonna flop now. Keep it going, and we're never gonna drop now. So you better stop now, never gonna stop now. We be going. You people thinking we joking and really funny. Look at the ratings and be checking your silly money. We taking everything you're putting on the table, leaving you disabled. You only get a silly dummies. They call me the chief. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Big boy never sleep. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put the rap on fleek. Oh yeah, oh yeah. With a 363. Oh yeah, oh yeah. They call me the chief. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Big boy never sleep. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put a rap on fleek. Oh yeah, oh yeah. With a 363. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I take a pause and I breathe and I know this. And then I roll with the best and the coldest. You know I got more skills and I show this. The sub-zero weather, you never hold this. You never messing with the figure man. Hyper quick, you blink and it's a trigger man. Type of guy you wrote with the jigger man. Rock and stay the shot, that's the bigger man. Yeah, I got my people saying dibby dibby. Charlie walk more, we're looking for the city. And they be taking and eat the same jitty. And they be calling us bad, the same diddy. We're doing every day, we work busy. Who be the boss? They be asking mini. I'm living them with the tension, the hibby jibby. So right now it be fitty. So no giddy. They call me the chief. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Big boy never sleep. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put the rap on
7:49.
Oh yeah. With a 363.
It's still the Citi Breakfast Show.
Chief. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Big boy never sleep. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put a rap on.
But that be used to singing the song.
So yeah, a gentleman who says he's Nathan. I don't even know. I don't even know who he is.
Nathan the flow.
I don't know who he is.
No, Charlie, no, that be deadly. That yeah, that be Nathan. But if you announce yourself, say that be you. Yeah, Charlie, that's why people will talk conflict of interest. So.
Conflict of interest matter. All right. Now between Friday and now. So Friday we're talking about Galamsey. So Professor Frimpong Boateng, a report he authored 2 years ago, and it was meant for the government consumption.
I take a pause and I breathe and I know this. And then I roll.
Managed to find its way into the public space. It's generated a lot of conversations.
You never mess with the figure man.
Several people have been reacting. Now on Friday we asked the question, and it was Godfred who asked that question. And Godfred is here, thankfully. He asked the question. He said he would want to hear from the government. But the government heard him, or maybe the government had already prepared a response. Nobody knows.
I'm living them with the tension, the hibby. So right now it be fitty. So no giddy. They call me the chief.
And so the government put out a press release dated April 21, 2023. It's not the longest of press releases, but they try to address a lot of the things raised in the report put together by Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. Now, for context sake, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who was the chairperson of the erstwhile Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, what was called the IMSIM, because we recognize that Galamsey was multifaceted. It touched several sectors, so they brought them together to see how best they could fight Galamsey. We've had several people reacting. Lord Comey has spoken. Gabriel Sarachidakon has spoken. Charles Bisu has spoken. He was a secretary to this committee. Professor Quao has also spoken. Thank you very much. And now the presidency has spoken.
And I think the other guy at the presidency, I think he's a staffer. I've forgotten his name.
Niteku, Charles Niteku Tego. Yes. So we have this release from the government. So this from the seat of government. The flag staffers, the presidency has reacted to.
Okay, so the statement.
This is Eugene responding.
This is Eugene. This on behalf of the president.
So, with your permission, I'll read in full.
Yes, it's not the longest of press releases.
So it was issued on the 21st of April, 2023, and it says press statement on Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. The statement says that the attention of the office of the president has been drawn to a publication in the media, ostensibly quoting from a document authored by the former Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation and chairperson of the erstwhile Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, IMSIM, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, which allegedly imputes wrongdoing on the part of some government appointees in the fight against galamsey. Now, at the outset, it must be pointed out that the document being discussed was not an official report formally delivered to the office of the president. On the contrary, it can only be rightly referred to as a catalogue of personal grievances and claims made by Professor Frimpong Boateng, intended to respond to some issues he faced as chairperson of the IMSIM. Now, the document was handed to the Chief of Staff at the Office of the President on March 19th, 2021, in an informal meeting where Professor Frimpong Boateng complained about public attacks and criticisms made about his tenure as chairperson of the IMSIM. Now, this was after Professor Frimpong Boateng's tenure as minister had not been renewed by the President of the Republic in his second term. Now, the document did not have a transmittal or cover letter, nor indeed an addressee, such as to suggest that it was submitted to the Chief of Staff for action. It is noteworthy that the IMSIM was a creature of cabinet, and any formal report on its activities would normally be submitted to cabinet through the cabinet secretary or directly to the President of the Republic as chairperson of cabinet. Till date, Professor Frimpong Boateng has done neither. Now, it is important also to point out that whilst Professor Frimpong Boateng makes serious allegations against some government appointees as having been involved in supporting or interfering with the fight against illegal mining, not a single piece of evidence was adduced or presented to enable the claims to be properly investigated. Indeed, the allegations contained in the document are at best hearsay. It is instructive that since Professor Frimpong Boateng's meeting with the Chief of Staff in March 2021, he has taken no step or acted in furtherance of the matters contained in the document. Now, the President's commitment to fighting illegal mining is unassailable, and the Office of the President welcomes any information on illegal mining activities which provides a credible basis for investigations to be conducted by the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. Finally, we continue to count on the cooperation of the general public. End statement. And apparently, this is coming in from the President's office, ostensibly issued by his spokesperson, Eugene Ahin, who is also the Director of Communications.
So that's the response from the presidency. And not too long, like I said, but it sought to respond to the 36-page document put out by Professor Frimpong Boateng, who was the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. And like I said, that report surfaced last week, and several people have been reacting. So this reaction has come in from the presidency. Eugene Ahin has given a response, has given the government's response to that. Godfred, you were the one who said if anybody had questions, you said several people had things to answer. The presidency has sought to answer the question posed to it by Professor Frimpong Boateng, and it's described it as, says, look, it's a lot of hearsay. It wasn't part of a formal report. This was handed to the president informally. I don't know what you make of the response. Sounds like
the war against galamsey, as I said, nobody has interest in it. Obviously, from the powers that be. They talk a good game. I must admit, they talk a fantastic game and have spent considerable resources propping up the game that they are talking. But obviously, the kind of deep action that is required to stop this is not there. And it is reinforced by this.
The statement.
Yes. IMSIM was disbanded in January of 2021. This was submitted March 19th, 2021. If this is not what the government was expecting, according to the government, this is not an official report formally delivered to the office of the president.
Yes.
Where is IMSIM's official report? Who would have authored IMSIM's official report? It's been 2 years.
Okay.
If this is not it, where is it? Because certainly there should have been one. Listening to, reading the documents that came with Professor Frimpong Boateng's, some of the things he said. He said what he sent. And I think this document does not make that acknowledgement. It says that the document was handed to the Chief of Staff at the Office of the President on March 19th, 2021 in an informal meeting. According to Professor Frimpong Boateng, he was asked by the Chief of Staff to prepare a report.
Okay.
Which he handed over. Formal, informal, whatever.
But the report went from him
to her. Okay. So what he sent was upon request. So why did the Chief of Staff make that request of him? Unless this statement is saying that, because this statement does acknowledge that it was handed over to the Chief of Staff. But this statement does not tell us why he decided to bring a report, however informal or however unofficial it may be. Because he could have put it on his Facebook page then. You understand?
Yeah.
Again, my disappointment stems from the fact that this makes it look like, and I blame Professor Frimpong Boateng for this.
Oh
yes. I said this on Friday, I'm just repeating it in the sense that his image has taken a huge beating from becoming a politician. His otherwise sterling reputation. And that is why you can get a line that makes it look like he was aggrieved and decided to send that 32 pages of grievances. You see? Because he says,
actually,
this was after Professor Frimpong Boateng's tenure as minister had not been renewed by the President of the Republic in his second term. Of what import is that? Did we not know? You see,
I
get where this is going.
Yes.
So it makes it look like, oh, this thing is now out of whatever. But at that time, what was going on? Disbanded in January. Document sent in March. What had happened between that period? So it says it is noteworthy that the MSIM was agreed. So it then outlines the processes. So there should have been a transmitter or cover letter, which it did not have, such as to suggest that it was submitted to the Chief of Staff for action. It's a creature of cabinet, and any formal report on its activities would normally be submitted to cabinet through the cabinet secretary. So this is what should have happened according to the presidency, not what Professor Frimpong Boateng did when he handed over that 32-page document. So I'm saying, where then is the IMSIM's official report? 2 years. So now are they telling us there's no official report of IMSIM's activities? So Professor Frimpong Boateng and Galam Stop and all the money and all the things that they did, bar his informal set of grievances, all 32 pages of it, there is no account anywhere of what IMSIM did. Parliament should be calling them and asking questions. We wasted money. Is that what it is? Is that what this document is telling us? Indeed, the allegations contained in the document are at best hearsay. It is instructive. Professor Frimpong Boateng, again, you see, I blame him.
Wrote
32 pages
of hearsay.
You see, I blame him. I blame him. Other than that, who would dare that Professor Frimpong Boateng sits down to say that this and this and this?
Okay.
His integrity is so far gone that now he chooses to write 32 pages of spurious allegations, mentions people's names. But the thing here is this, you see, and the reason why I'm saying it would have been interesting, at least for the government to show interest 2 years ago when he sent that, is, and I made this point again on Friday, and I repeat it. there was nobody at that point who would have had more information
than
Professor Frimpong Boateng. You cannot deny it. He was the chair of the Interministerial Committee on illegal mining in this country. A committee that had 10 ministries working together. That had the army, that had police, that had everything. Every report, every allegation, every rumor that was whispered would have been whispered to him as well. So, spurious allegation or not, when he puts it on a piece of paper, look into it. Tell us that we have looked into it. And when we looked into it, based on A, B, C, D, we can tell you that it was a spurious grievance made by Professor Frimpong Boateng, born out of anger, born out of something, because his mandate had not been renewed, as you are seeking to tell us by these documents that you have sent. They have not been fair to the man. Like I said, he should also take responsibility for it.
I'm curious about why. Is it because of the timing? Or
what? It's not because of the timing. I'm simply saying that if it is easy. No, it's not about then. It is easy to issue something like this based on, I'm saying, if a decade ago, Professor Frimpong Boateng had authored a document like this, who in this country will say Professor Frimpong Boateng was making spurious allegations? You tell me. If a decade ago, Professor Frimpong Boateng sits down and authors a 32-page document and says this and this and this and this is what has gone on, who in this country will say we should not take him seriously? Who? From the presidency to the whatever, the levels Professor Frimpong Boateng has attained in this life, in academia, in professional medical care, in this country, globally, who? But then you become minister of something in this country. And this is what will happen. Because in my mind, there is no proper, genuine attempt to deal with this Galamsey issue. Other than that, we have this statement. Fine. You've told us what you want to say. I will go ahead and make another request. Where is the IMSIM's official report? Did the chief of staff request for that?
Did the committee itself
who is authoring it? Who authored it? If it was, where is it? You see, because you say he makes grievous allegations and that, we read the report. Some of the things that happened, there were journalists on the ground. Some of the things, these are not things, some of them happened in all kinds of places. All kinds of names were mentioned. Yeah. So, if you look at Professor Frimpong Boateng's level, as a minister or something, there were people who would be considered, there were press attachés of some kind in there. At what level of his operations does Professor Frimpong Boateng come into contact with those kind of people? At his level. For him to mention their names. For him to pick up phone and call them. For them to pick up phone and call him. Okay. So, for the first part of this conversation, all I'm saying is, we've heard from the presidency. I am particularly disappointed by the tone of it.
Yeah.
By how it has been designed to make it look like basically the man is out of his mind.
Yeah. These are
ravings
of a mad person.
Ravings of somebody who is upset with the system. But even if he's upset with the system, him being upset will not take away the fact
doesn't
that
take away
he has said A, B, C, D about certain groups of people, about certain entities. I'm saying the best way to clear them is not to tell us that, oh, the man is upset, so he's made spurious allegations and hearsay. When we read it, we thought it was hearsay. Oh, he mentioned this person's name. Okay, he mentioned this person's name. Oh, so he mentioned this person's name. Oh, so for all the names that were mentioned, who looked into it? How did you look into it? That is what you must now establish for us. Other than that, why should I, if Professor Frimpong, we are to believe that Professor Frimpong Boateng's report was authored and the government's position on the matter is that it was it is the doctor at best hearsay. So and he why should we believe you? That's the point I'm making. Why should we take your word for it? Suddenly, I'm supposed to trust that the government says, okay, all 32 away.
And to think that this was a man who the government itself created a committee and asked him to supervise their work.
No,
and
come on.
When he comes back with his findings, we said we don't.
They should not do that. They should not do that. I sit here and I say, the Professor Frimpong Boateng's allegations, hearsay,
the government should look into.
No. It is what it is. Anybody who has and I'm saying that's why I said this will end up in court. If you don't like it, that your name has been mentioned, let's go to court. Let's talk about it there. Okay? But I do not think that at this point, you see, and the reason why the government will struggle to convince Ghanaians is, so if everything is to be disbelieved, who is doing the illegal mining? Obviously, the thing is going on. So, the mining that is happening in the areas that he mentioned, have we not been to these areas?
Yeah, we have.
Illegal mining is not going on there. So those ones are not those ones are also hearsay. The fact that the places that he listed, so there's no illegal mining in the Apapa forest. Did we not cover it? Where's Kujajima? Somebody should put Kujajima on there. Like, was he not there? The other forest that was named, was he not there? Wasn't Honorable Asuma Chairman on the grounds at the Apapa forest telling people that you are exceeding your licenses? He was there. Kujajima was there. We had a camera there. I don't need the government to come and tell me what somebody in our news division sent a human being to go and cover, and the person came back with voices
and footage
that we saw. Is it a press release that is going to tell me that these things are hearsay? No, we saw it. Okay, so how do you convince me then that, okay, these things, you are telling me these things have not happened? Or, okay, the illegal mining is happening, but the persons he's accusing of aiding and abetting are not the ones doing it. So we need to find different people. Okay, how are you finding those different people? Who have you found? The only person we caught was Aisha Juan, whom we let go, and she came back out of love, according to her, from last week's court proceedings. Who have we caught? Who? They should stop this thing. The Galamsey, the go against Galamsey, they should stop and let us think.
Richard, are you as upset as Godfred is based on the response? Because I don't know. I mean, I get the sense all of a sudden. It's as though like the government is downplaying its own fight. You get what I mean? Somebody, and then you come back to give such a. It's as though all the money and time and effort we've put into it is needless, really.
Okay. Okay, so let me take it from this side. And for those whose purpose it will serve, I'm expressing opinions. And let me prefix that by saying that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is currently the president of the Republic of Ghana, at some point was the proprietor of the Statesman newspaper. If you are old enough to know what the Statesman newspaper was. And that was where I cut my teeth and got trained as a journalist. So if it serves your purpose, please, it's a notorious public knowledge. But if you don't know, now you know. But let me go on to make my submissions.
Yes, let's go.
Let me also draw your attention to the fact that Professor Frimpong Boateng has since come out
he's also responded
with a new epistle.
Yes,
which
we'll get into that.
Which I'll be bringing to the attention of our listeners. Now, I have read the documents surrounding this matter, and the submissions I made on Friday still stand. I'm not running away from anything I said on Friday. I stand firmly by them. I spoke the position of the law. I spoke the question of good governance, and that should rest the matter. And again, let me also prefix that by saying that, yes, the Statesman newspaper was edited at the time I was there by Asare Gabi Ochiridako, and we still have great relationship. He's my former boss. Just in case you do not know, this again is a public matter. It's publicly out there. People know. It's a notorious fact. And just in case you do not know, I'm stating it for the record. Just in case you do not know. But my employers have not told me that I should recuse myself from the discussion. And so I'm proceeding to deal with it. If you don't like it, you know what to do. So the press statement from Professor Frimpong Boateng has said that he's standing by everything he said in the document.
Yes.
It's sort of a letter to Kweku Bako. So which is to suggest that if the document we have in the public domain is anything to go by, then it is the case that he is claiming ownership of the document and that the document in the public domain is consistent with what he apparently submitted to the chief of staff. Now, what has the presidency said about that document? Let me deal with it on 5 levels.
On 5 levels?
Yeah, 5 different levels. Yeah. The first one is the technical issues that the government sought to raise about how the document was transmitted to the presidency. Now, if you look closely at the statement, the presidency said in paragraph 3 that the document was handed to the chief of staff at the office of the president on March 19, 2021, in an informal meeting where Professor Frimpong Boateng complained about public attacks and criticisms made about him, his tenure as chairperson of INSEN. Now, for any fair-minded person who is looking at this statement alone, the person would say that, yes, I think the presidency has a point. That indeed, a document of this size, if it actually is a report accounting for what he did in office as the chairperson of this particular institution, then it ought to have been properly transmitted. That is the formal way of doing things. The person would not be wrong, because documents seeking a certain action ought to be communicated in a certain way. So that's to assume a technical position and to argue the point based on that. But for the purposes of good governance, is it the case that the renowned professor has made specific allegations of grievous proportions as to require that a government that has publicly stated that it is committed to fighting Galamsey ought to have acted upon? I argue that yes, because for the past 6 or so years, we here at Citi FM, and the record is there publicly, have taken on this fight against illegal mining. And we were the very first media house to publicly take on the fight and to launch a campaign against it for that matter. I was one of a few other people here at Citi FM who recorded video commentary, recorded video voices speaking against illegal mining. And we sent people into the bushes to do reports, which reports were brought here, which were aired. Because what? We were concerned about the state of our environment. Now, how did the government respond to that? They said that, well, they found the issues we had raised legitimate, and the issues that civil society people have raised legitimate. So they launched a crusade to deal with it. Orders were made for certain things to be suspended so that we could deal with the menace of Galamsey. So if after all these years, and after everything that civil society, including the media and in the likes of Dr. Ken Asigbe have done, and ultimately it would seem that not much has been achieved, and a report of this kind, whether it was informally communicated or it was formally communicated, if it comes to the attention of a president that says he's committed to fighting Galamsey, the expectation would legitimately be that what? You should act on it.
And not care too much about
whether it was informal. Of course, it's a matter of public statement to communicate, if you so care about it. But the government of the issues that underpin the report have got to be investigated. And that is what a president that is committed to fighting a menace of this kind, that threatens our collective and individual existence, would do. So looking at this statement, I have read through the entire statement, and nothing is said in this official statement as to indicate that the president takes this matter seriously and intends to investigate it. And that is a huge, huge, huge disappointment. And anybody who has read the statement and who has read the document that Professor Frimpong Boateng, regardless of how you feel about it, will be disappointed that a statement of this kind, responding to a matter of that size, would have taken such a perfunctory view of what exactly the man had communicated. But let's move on to deal with the other issue. The fact is, we are told in a publication by GBC that indeed the president had ordered some investigations into this matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go to a story published on the 20th of March 2023 by GBC GhanaOnline.com, the story says President Akufo-Addo orders probe into Professor Frimpong Boateng's galamsey allegation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's by Franklin Asaredonko, and with your permission, let me just read excerpts of it. The story says that the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has directed the police to commence investigations into allegations made by the former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, to the effect that some top government officials were engaged in illegal small-scale mining, popularly known as galamsey. In making the allegation, Professor Frimpong Boateng further said that some persons in government orchestrated his exit following his fight against the illicit small-scale mining trade, just to be able to go on with the illegal practice. Speaking in an interview with Gifty Ejay on GTV's Legends of Our Time, he said there was an orchestrated scheme, even within the party and government, to get me out. Why is it that when I left, everyone is in the forest? So that's a rhetorical question that he asks. Now, the information available indicates that the police have dispatched a letter to Professor Frimpong Boateng to assist them in the investigation. Now, if you read the story, it is a straightforward story. It doesn't tell us how the order came to be issued from the presidency that the CID should investigate the matter. The language and the details are so terse, so you cannot really, there's no formal communication to the best of my knowledge as to how the president communicated that position. So the point I'm making is that a responsible press statement from the presidency would have said that, look, the presidency takes a serious view of the weight of the allegations that have been made, and on the basis of his own commitment to the fight against illegal mining, and the fact that he is the constitutionally recognized custodian of the lands of this country and the natural resources of this country, he was referring the matter appropriately, or he has referred the matter to the Ghana Police Service or any appropriate institution of state for the appropriate investigations and subsequent action. The statement did not say that. And that is a huge omission. And I agree with Godfrey's submission that to the extent that they did not take such a serious view of this matter, it is a huge slap in the face of the fight against illegal mining. And it does not matter that much earlier there's some publication in the media as to suggest that there has been some investigation ordered by the president.
Yes.
The statement ought to have given way to it. Now, should the investigation absolve the president of any blame? Not at all. Now, we are told that it's been 2 years, and that takes me to the second leg of my submission. It's been 2 years that this report was submitted to the presidency through the chief of staff. The statement from the presidency tells us that it was at an informal meeting, and that it is a catalog. With your permission, let me go to the. Okay, so paragraph 4 of the statement deals with that. Says that this was after Professor Frimpong Boateng's tenure as minister had not been renewed by the President of the Republic in his second term. The document did not have a transmittal cover letter, nor indeed an addressee, such as to suggest that it was submitted to the Chief of Staff for action. It is noteworthy. Okay, so basically that actually links to my earlier submission, but there was a point that it says that it is important to point out that whilst Professor Frempong Boateng makes serious allegations against some government appointees as having been involved, supporting or interfering with the fight against illegal mining, not a single piece of evidence was adduced or presented to enable the claims to be properly investigated. And then also much earlier in the statement, they actually said that it was a catalogue of, well, that is in paragraph 2. At the outset, it must be pointed out that the document being discussed was not an official report formally delivered to the office of the president. On the contrary, it can only be rightly referred to as a catalogue of personal grievances and claims made by Professor Frempong Boateng, intended to respond to some issues he faced as chairperson of the IMSM. Now, do you dismiss a matter of this size like that on the basis of what you feel are matters of personal grievances and issues that you face as chairperson? I think that was a huge disservice to the good people of Ghana. Why am I saying that? If a report of this size is submitted to you, no matter how informal the meeting may have been, there have been specific allegations that have been made. And if a government cares about its image and what its fight against people working to undermine the growth of this country, if you really care about that, you ought to investigate them. And how come between the time that the report was submitted and recently, we had not heard about this report until some allegations emerged, sort of linking some people allegedly to dealing with illegal mining in our country? So you see, the good people of Ghana, whoever they may be, are entitled to say that, but for this document making it into the public domain, we would not have had any action from the presidency. And that sullies the image of the presidency by their own conduct or inaction. Because if you had come to the good people of Ghana to say that, look, the Chief of Staff has received a report, which report has sought to scandalize, people, or to accuse people in government and outside government of working in cahoots with others to undermine the government's fight against illegal mining. And on the basis of the dim view you take of, how these people are destroying the environment, you are causing investigations to be done. You would have responded promptly to the demands that a document of that size should ordinarily attract. But they did not do that. They waited until this document made its way into the public domain and people are responding to clear their names, which is something that they are entitled to do. Do you understand? So that is another failure on the part of government to deal with this matter. And Nathan, let me go to the other leg of my submission this morning, if I may.
No problem.
Which is
you just give me a few seconds. Okay. Let me pay a few bills whilst you gather your thoughts, and then we can get into that. All right, Sky, you just finish that point, and then we'll sort the bills out.
So the role of institutions of state, because Godfred made an important point about what Parliament or an institution like Parliament should be doing.
Yes.
The fact is that Parliament is the guardian of the purse of this country. And if you look at our constitution, their role is to review government policy and, where appropriate, to make pronouncements as to pass them or to reject them. And they also release funds for government business to be done. as Godfrey rightly stated, the work of the INSIM required use of public resources. The soldiers were deployed, the military deployed, armored vehicles were used where appropriate, and all kinds of things were done, which engaged and used our public resources, in other words, our public purse. So is there a need for accountability? I will say yes. Because what are we talking about? We have used the public resources of this country to engage a minister of the size of Professor Frimpong Boateng and others. In fact, long before him, there were others who had done some work. And if he presents a report, no matter how informal, as it is regarded, and there is a suggestion that people within the administration have undermined the work of that committee, regardless of whether a CID person is investigating the matter, I think the jurisdiction of Parliament is probably triggered under our Constitution to look into this matter. And it is good that the Speaker of Parliament has summoned a meeting of MPs. It's most likely going to be a day's meeting, a specific agenda to be dealt with. But I'll be most disappointed if at that particular meeting, a member of Parliament is not on his feet, flagging this report and seeking to rally the House to set up a bipartisan committee or to ask the committee responsible for lands and natural resources to look into this matter and to return a report that can be acted upon.
Okay.
If they do not do that, they would have done great disservice to the good people of this country.
Parliament will meet for a day to sort out some issues, but like Richard is saying, maybe they should look into this as well. We'll get to your comments that have come in on 0549986996. Remember that at 9 a.m. this morning, we'll give you the April 2023 edition of EdTech Monday. This morning, we are talking digital literacy, a crucial component of 21st century skills, part of our EdTech Monday, which is a platform for EdTech entrepreneurs, education stakeholders, and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. It's happening at 9 a.m. Now, grabbing your favorite drink for all your occasions can be tricky, but if there's Coke, don't worry. They've got all kinds of drinks for you. They have the 300 ml Classic Coke, which is selling at 5 cedis, 300 ml Coke Zero, Fanta, and Sprite, all selling at 4 cedis. And if you want a lot more Coke to pass around, you can get the 1.5 liter Coke Classic for 20 cedis and the 1.5 liter Coke Zero, Fanta, and Sprite for 18 cedis to share with friends and family. Now, the month of April is the month of jazz, and so Alliance Francaise Accra is inviting you to the Société Générale Ghana Jazz Festival. It's a week-long celebration of jazz in all its forms. It's happening from April 24 to 29, so it's from today to the 29th of April. Now, some of the key things, April 20 and April 29, they've got concerts. Pamela Bajogo from Gabon will be there, Victor Day Quartet will be there, Charlie from Benin will be there, and Kwame Yeboah and the Kwame Band from Ghana will be there. Tickets are selling for 50 cedis per day and 30 cedis for students, and it's powered by Alliance Francaise Accra. Now, following the passage of the Land Act 2020, Act 1036, the Lands Commission, under the auspices of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, has initiated steps towards the preparation of legislative instruments that will provide the procedural matters needed for the implementation and enforcement of the provisions of the Act as specified under Section 280. So if you have anything to say in terms of comments and info, reference those sections of the Act and send them to the Lands Commission or the Executive Secretary, the Lands Commission, in soft copy. Or send, if you want to send a soft copy, you can send to regulations.landact@lc.gov.gh. All comments and information must be submitted on or before the 30th of April. And if you have any further comments or any further questions, send an email to regulations.landact@lc.gov.gh. Signed, the Executive Secretary of the Lands Commission. Now, are you a tertiary student or graduate? Would you like to team up with others to build an innovative agri-focused or agri-focused business? The KIC and University of Ghana are calling for applications from students and graduates aged 35 and below from the Greater Accra region to join the 2023 KIC Agri-Tech Challenge Classic competition. It's a 7-month annual training program aimed at developing the interest and building the mindset of students and young graduates to ultimately drive systemic change in Ghana's agricultural sector. If you are interested, call 0247 578 334 or 0208 373 604, or you can visit kicghana.org or the KIC social media page. Deadline for applications is the 5th of May. Now, Citi FM is doing something quite interesting for our mothers. You have the opportunity to say something nice about your mother. In this month of May, we are organizing a portrait of Mama promo. And this is how you can enter. Now, in 100 words or less, celebrate your mom or your mother figure for making the most important intervention that changed the course of your life. Your entry should begin with the phrase, "But for Mama," then you go on to say all the things you want to say. Send your entry together with your name, your mom's name, and your contact info via WhatsApp 0549 986 996 or 020 444 7033. The deadline for entry is April 30. And then you can take Mama out, because Citi FM and Citi TV, we are organizing a portrait of Mama, which is the dinner event. And it's an evening of Ghanaian food, dance, and the celebration of motherhood. It's happening on the 14th of May at the Citi TV Gardens in Tesano. It's at 4 p.m. And you can call 0205 973 973. And it's brought to you by Dano, and it will cost you 350 cedis. So that's what's happening. So just you can send in your entries, and you can also bring Mama out for a lovely time on the 14th of May. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Your comments are coming in on 0549 986 996. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, a few more submissions. We'll go through your comments, and then we'll get ready for the April edition of EdTech Monday. All of that coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
One day, an old lady inherited a huge sum of money. Her family worried about how to break the good news to her. They feared that the sudden good news might give her a heart attack. And so they decided the family doctor who was experienced in delivering such news should be the one to tell her. And when he did, surprisingly, she just smiled. Relieved, he asked, "What are you going to do with all that money?" She replied, "I'm going to give you half." The doctor had a heart attack. People are often surprised when we put them first. At FBN Bank, that's what we do. We put you first. Open an account with us today and enjoy mobile banking, USSD banking, shop and pay with our prepaid Visa cards, MasterCard, and many other services designed with you in mind. FBN Bank, you first.
There are moments in life when you're just so scared and you feel like just giving up. Oh, but Dino Milk is saying, we know that you can do it. Believe in yourself and then go for it. Go for it. Nourishment, that is your Dino Milk.
Choose nourishment. Choose Dino Milk Whole Cow, your nutritious instant powdered milk.
Dino Milk. Go for it.
This advert is FDA approved.
Yes, Charlie, Chance Pie, the promotion is here again. It's Samsung Eid Mubarak promo. This Eid Mubarak, Samsung is offering you good prices. It is time to gather your friends, interact, and get an original Samsung television starting at 2,999 Ghana cedis. Don't worry, Samsung television ranges from 32 inches, 40 inches, 43 inches, 50 inches, 55 inches, 65, 75, 85, 98 inches. Charlie, remember, quality lasts. Get yourself a Samsung booming soundbar at 2,899 Ghana cedis. Projectors, sound tower, sound bars, refrigerators, cooling plus, split ACs, washing machines, and many more. Visit any Samsung showroom near you. Samsung Eid Mubarak promotion. For more info, call 0242 439 437.
Say donut, 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 donut. Hey, donut, 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 donut. Donut, donut. Yeah, cotton donut. Donut, donut. Malaria syrup donut. Everybody follow not sa malaria. A 3D till no not now. Won't malaria chill. Popo. What really did? I want you. No not. A dabako. No not. A damienu. No not. A damiensa. No not. No not. Scatter malaria. Lonat, it scatter malaria.
A quality product from Blaze GVS Pharma. Yenshishemu who se malaria wa umujam ansana wanum lona. Na nam yensearch na malaria no daso wo hwa ko hu dokota.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hi there. Are you interested in the cement, concrete, and precast industry? Join us at the first International Concrete Conference and Exhibition, ICCX West Africa 2023, from April 25th to April 26th at the Grand Arena in Accra. ICCX West Africa 2023 will feature renowned speakers and bespoke companies in the industry. Interact at the trade exhibition with over 30 companies from more than 10 countries. Best of all, admission is free for concrete, precast, and cement professionals. For further information, call Richard on 0242-438-760. To pre-register, visit iccxwestafrica.org. Platinum sponsors MC Barshemi Ghana Limited, Sika Chemicals Ghana Limited, Gassem Limited, and Saint Gobain West Africa. ICCX West Africa 2023 is organized by Ad Media GmbH in collaboration with the Delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Ghana and VGMA.
For Pepsodent, smiles are one of the most important things we have. The problem is, globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent, with maximum cavity protection, helps to prevent the formation of cavities. Pepsodent, because every smile matters. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Kofi, Kwame, you know, I know, Adjoa knows. Even Brima said it yesterday that millions of Ghanaians are taking the COVID-19 vaccines, and they all say it is the right thing to do. It is safe, so take your ID and go to the nearest health facility or any COVID-19 vaccination center to get the jab. It will protect you from being knocked down by the disease or even going on admission. Protect yourself and protect your family. If you had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, then you can go for the booster shot after your first dose. The vaccines are there. They are safe and they are free. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your community. The COVID-19 vaccine reduces the severity of the disease and prevents hospitalization.
This message is brought to you by Ghana Health Service, Good Life, Live It Well, USAID, and partners. Celebrate this month of Easter with Melcom and save more on your Citis always when you shop on items ranging from groceries, electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, and many more. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana shops.
Bet365 is now officially available in Ghana. When you place a pre-match multi-bet on football, you go get bonus up to 70% to your winnings if your bet is successful. You can choose from markets like full-time results and both teams to score, from selected competitions including the Premier League, Champions League, and much more. Get this great offer when you visit the official site at bet365.com.gh. Over 18s only. Terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Anytime is a good time to have a break. Introducing Munchie Anytime Crackers. It's perfect for break times, party times, movie times, and snack times. Savor the moment. Enjoy Munchie Anytime Crackers anytime. Munchie Anytime Crackers. It's light and tasty.
This advert is FDA approved.
Each year, 18,000 children are born in Ghana with sickle cell disease, and 1 in 3 Ghanaians have the sickle cell trait. Many discover their sickle cell genotype only after the birth of a precious child with the condition. But do you know that sickle cell disease can be prevented? It starts with knowing your genotype. Do you also know that sickle cell is not a death sentence? With early diagnosis and the right medical care, Some are living to celebrate their 90th birthdays. That is why the International Sickle Cell Center and Airtel Tigo are pushing the Touching Lives initiative to raise awareness. My name is Dr. Mary Anson. Get tested to know your sickle cell genotype. To learn more, visit www.iacc.international.
This initiative is brought to you by the International Sickle Cell Center, ISCC, in partnership with Airtel Tigo Touching Lives.
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Welcome back. This is still the Citi Breakfast Show. Your health is important to you, and so you need to visit Vicdank Healthcare. It's a Ghana Health Service certified healthcare center that specializes in kidney stones, hepatomegaly, hypertension, fatty liver treatment, among others. They're on the Spintex Road behind the Standard Chartered Bank. You can call them on 0549 951 211 or 0502 661 346. Are you a business leader, entrepreneur, executive director, manager from marketing, sales, operations, HR without a formal financial background? And are you facing greater financial and business responsibilities? That's why we need you, or we invite you to book for Benchmarks Financial and Accounting for Non-Finance Executives Workshop. As a participant, you gain experience in applying financial principles to real-world situations and all of that. You can get in touch with them on 0277 511 315 or 0249 944 442 or visit Benchmark. Now, losing a loved one is tough. It will stop you in your tracks. It will leave you shaking. But if you speak to Lashibi Funeral Homes and Crematorium, they'll give you good private end-to-end funeral services just so that bit is handled well. Get in touch with them on 0509 542 409 or info@lashibifuneralhomes.com or visit their website, lashibifuneralhomes.com. Lashibi Funeral Homes and Crematorium, dignity for the deceased, comfort for the bereaved. Now, Juliana June Clothing is the latest clothing brand with quality apparel and styles for both men and women. They are learning from successful global luxury brands, and so they are providing their customers with the best in fashion and clothes made in Ghana. Call them on 0249 789 789 or find them on Facebook and Instagram at Juliana June GH or visit their website julianajune.com. They are on the English Amanfo Road, Wager after the West Hills Mall, and this are sponsored by Vodafone Business Further Together. Now, Copan is telling you that join them. They've got great packages for you. They are going to Adoma Cinema and Boti Falls on May 20, and it's costing 600 cedis. There's a 100 cedi discount for all old clients and the first 20 people to register. But if you want something outside the country, they are going to Dubai and Kenya. They have a package for 1,400 double sharing and 1,600 single occupancy. And it's between June 23 and 29. The package includes visa assistance, hotel accommodation, tours, package, airport transfers. Call them on 0556 965 924 0262 349 886 for more details. Copan Hospitality Tourism at its best. And traveling and moving about will get you a little dehydrated. That's why you need water. Standard Water is giving you 25 years of experience. And they're giving you great water. They've got sachet water, bottled water, dispenser jar mounted water, customized water for your parties and other special occasions. So when Godfred is celebrating his birthday, he can get Standard to put his face on it. Godfred water. Wouldn't you like that? Godfred water.
Yes. I've always wanted my own.
So get in touch with Standard Water on 0202 055703 or 0547 334 385. This ad is FDA approved. Like I said, today we'll give you the April edition of EdTech Monday. It's happening at 9. But let's continue with our conversation. So Professor Frimpong Boati, he's also spoken. It looks like every now and again, or between now and when it ends, we'll be getting a lot of responses. He has also given a response to Gabby Otredaku. Remember, Gabby Otredaku granted an interview to us last week. And so Professor Frimpong Boateng has responded. Now, his response is directly at Gabby Otredaku, and it's a very detailed, it's about 13 pages.
It's actually a very short one.
A very short one, but the others are attachments, pictures, those things. Now, in his response, he says, I've come across transcripts of statements made by Mr. Gabby Otredaku in an interview had with Citi FM on Thursday, April 20. Now, he said after listening to Mr. Otredaku, he became, quote, sad for Ghana. Okay, and I'm reading the document. Quote, I wondered what happened to us to get to this state where a person who's supposed to be the lawyer of a mining company exhibited such industrial scale ignorance about mining laws and regulations. So he also goes on to state a few things. Now, he says, Mr. Otredaku seems to have forgotten that his client, which is, as mentioned, the C&J Alaska and Heritage Imperial Mining. Now, he says that he's forgotten that his client has a strong history of acting with impunity. Donald Intia, who operated both C&G Alaska and Heritage Imperial Mining Company Limited, has a history of abusing mining permits and regulations. So these are Professor Frimpong Boateng's words. And he says that these companies have a history. Now, he goes on to say that on November 29, 2016, Mr. Tony Obin, the then CEO of the Minerals Commission during the NDC administration, wrote to C&J Alaska that the company was, quote, seriously engaged in illegal mining on its prospecting license, end quote. So Professor Frimpong Boateng says that the company was doing something it had not been licensed to do. On 30th January 2017, Mr. Obin again wrote to C&J Alaska for, quote, undertaking mining activities illegally without obtaining all the requisite permits and approvals, end quote. He also says that in 2017, in October, Honorable John Peter Amewu, NPP's first Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, wrote to C&J Alaska regarding the Dwabo concession and directed that, quote, in view of the fact that C&J Alaska does not have a valid mining operating permit and that the ministry has not yet ratified your mining license, you are directed not to carry out any mining instructions. And not to carry out any mining instructions is written in bold. No, it's written in capitals.
Mining instructions?
Mining operations, sorry. You are not to carry out any mining operations in the concession until your mining lease has been ratified. Again, these are words or what Dr. or Professor Frimpong Boateng has put on paper. And he's saying, and he's responding to Gabby Otredaku's interview. He also goes on to say that C&J Alaska metamorphosed into Heritage Mining Imperial Company Limited, operated by the Donald Intua. This time they settled in the Apaprama and Kobro Forest in Manso in the Ashanti region and immediately started with active mining without even a prospecting license, with the attendant destruction of forest farmlands and water bodies. Okay, so Professor Frimpong Boateng has responded to Gabby Otredaku, and you can find that on Citi News.
Was that all he said?
So I've just read the salient part. So he also goes on to say that, Mr. Otredaku, I don't think you have retrograde amnesia, but I want to refresh your memory about the destruction of the environment that had been perpetrated by your client over the years, with the accompanying videos and pictures from the Diaso Forest and Apaprama. And it finally ends by saying, finally, the former minister, whom Mr. Gabby Otredaku thinks had a weak understanding of his position, has done more for this country and the world than Mr. Otredaku would ever dream of in a million years. And the statement is signed Professor Doctor, and he adds MED to say that he's a medical doctor, Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. And he adds pictures, 13 pictures documenting devastation of the environment caused by clients of Mr. Otredaku, and 2 reports by Mr. Erastus Asaridonko shown on Joy TV. He provides 2 links, one which is a Facebook link, the other which is a YouTube link. He also provides letters from Dr. Tony Obin to CG Alaska dated November 29, 2016, suspending mining operations of C&J Alaska. Then he provides the letter written by Mr. Obin dated January 30, 2017, suspending the mining operations of C&J Alaska. Then he also provides the letter from Honorable John Peter Mill to the same CNG Alaska, dated October 2, 2017, suspending mining operations of the said company, which is CNG Alaska. So that's the response from Professor Frimpong Boateng to Gabby Asare-Chidako. And like Sky, you stated, the man is still standing by what he said in his report. These documents or this response kind of fortifies his stance, and he's insisting that everything he said, he stands by and he holds true and he believes is true.
This thing I told you will end up in court. As it should. Okay.
For people to clarify.
Okay. You see, which is why I am worried by, and not worried, I am upset by the inaction that was taken on the initial report. You see, because if action had been taken, everybody who was listed, every company that was listed there by now would know their position on the matter. But now everybody's on the defensive because it's been 2 years. You cannot simply say that, oh, it was hearsay. You get you see, so
get you.
The entire thing has been a disservice to everybody. So it will end up in court because Frimpong Boateng has come back with what he says is his evidence. Aerial shots, links of interviews granted, journalists were there. That's
letters from
letters. Expect a response from Gabby Asare-Chidako as well. You understand? Because, or if not from him personally, from the entity that he represents in this particular matter. But would all these things have been necessary if 2 years ago the government had done the needful? And that's what I'm saying. All this eventually for me ends up at the presidency.
Yes.
And it is disappointing. Was it not the president who said he will put his presidency on the line for this matter?
Yes. And let's not forget why. Remember the story the link that Sky read, the GBC story that said that the president had ordered a probe into the.
Did he see any evidence?
There was no evidence.
Yeah, so you see, that's why I said that it was wrong. That it was approached like that. But before I close, you see, I think it's important. My training doesn't allow me to look at matters just like that and then jump on the bandwagon because someone has a feeling about a person or two and say that, hey, convict this person. Look, let me say this. Professor Frimpong Boateng has come out to say all kinds of things. These are serious matters. If any citizen of the Republic of Ghana looking at these facts believes that Gabby Asare-Chidako has done anything untoward in violation of his role or his obligations as a lawyer, there is an institution known as the General Legal Counsel. It is located within the offices of the Ghana School of Law at Makola. A dutiful citizen should take this matter there and say that based on what he has read, it is his thinking that he acted in a way that was not in consonance with the rules governing the legal profession. And hopefully, they will take it up. It should not be reduced to, oh, you represented this and you ought not have done it. I have said that it is important that when you are speaking to the facts, you speak to the facts and you express your opinion based on that. I've expressed my public opinion on this matter. It was a purely legal position as I understand it. And if you have any issues with it and you believe that the man has done something wrong, head to the General Legal Counsel or go to the police station and report the same. Those are the matters I'll bring to your attention and close my submission on this matter.
Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Coming up next is the April edition of EdTech Monday. Now, EdTech Monday is a platform for EdTech entrepreneurs, education stakeholders, and government reps to facilitate critical conversations on the use of technology for teaching and learning. The show is an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation's Regional Center for Innovative Teaching